Welcome to the Safety Rules Station. So, you should be grabbing your safety rules notes. And if you look at it, you'll see that there's probably some sideways things, or half of the page says glue dots. You don't have to worry about the glue dots portion unless you get to the foldable may do station later on. So, that can be ignored for right now. I'm going to go through your notes and you're going to copy down the red words that you see. If you need to pause at any time, please do so. If you need to rewatch the video, please do so. Make sure before you check in with me, all of the spaces are filled in. You are working with your partners, so if you miss something and your partner gets it, you can get that information from them. All right, here we go. So, looking at your safety equipment, this is your little drawing that's there. It's not colored in on yours, it's colored in here. So, that would be something later on if you wanted to do, you'd be able to color it in. So, take a look at this first item. These are goggles. Please make sure you write that red word. You will have a set of goggles kept in your drawers that are by your table. You could possibly need an apron for safety issues. We don't want to ruin our clothes, so when we're doing things that are with items other than water that might get us messy, you might use an apron. Gloves. We won't have a need to use gloves very often because we're not going to really ever work with toxic substances. However, when you get up into 7th, 8th in high school, you will for sure be using those things. This one is probably something you've never seen before. It's an eye wash bin. So, this is like a little sink, and these two little squirty things are where the water comes up. So, if you happen to get chemicals in your eyes or something in your eyes, this is what washes your eyes out. Again, we're not going to have to worry about that in 6th grade, but as you get older, you may need to. And we all should be experienced at least in knowing what a fire extinguisher is, and we've probably all seen it being used. Hopefully, we will never have to use a fire extinguisher in 6th grade. So make sure you have goggles, apron, gloves, eye wash, and fire extinguisher written down. Pause here if you need to take a moment to make sure that you do that. Moving on, we're going to go to our classroom safety rules. So this will be on the other side of your paper. First, you want to make sure you read all the instructions before beginning the lab. Please copy those red words down. Obviously, when we are participating in any kind of activity, we want to make sure we read all of the instructions. If you come to me and say, I don't know what to do, the first thing I'm going to ask you is whether or not you read the directions, because I promise you, I will always give you full directions. Next, you want to make sure you use safety goggles, gloves, and aprons when needed. We do not always need all of these things, and sometimes we may not ever need them at all. So you have to use your discretion after you've read the directions. What do you think you're going to need to keep yourself safe? Copy the words in red. Part 3, secure loose hair and clothing. Well, why is that important? Well, if you have your long hair dangling and it gets stuck around something, we don't want that to happen. Imagine you were using a fan and your hair got stuck in the fan. Yikes, that would hurt. Number 4, never touch, taste, or smell lab items, especially if it's stuff you don't know what it is. It could be toxic, it could make you sick. We will probably never have anything like that in 6th grade, but it's still a really good practice to make sure that you're never touching, tasting, or smelling lab items, unless, of course, it's a specific lab that I have given you permission to do so, like when we did the marshmallows the other day. All right. Next one, report all accidents to the teacher immediately. Please don't think you're ever going to get in trouble if you have an accident. It happens. We all make mistakes, we all spill, we all drop things. But what I need to make sure we do is to clean it up together. So make sure you don't, think you're going to get in trouble. Next one, respect lab equipment and use it properly. I really don't want to see people playing with toys that are meant to do a specific purpose. These materials are very expensive, and we want to make sure that we take care of them and use them properly so that you are able to keep that privilege. Next, follow all directions in lab and from the teacher. If you miss a direction, chances are good you're not going to complete the lab the way that you were supposed to complete it. So please make sure you're thorough. If you are not understanding something, make sure you ask. And finally, clean up when you're finished. I think you've already noticed about me, I do not like my room messy. So we want to make sure we clean up after ourselves, throw away any trash. If we spill something, we clean that up. So make sure you have all 8 of these safety rules filled in on your notes. If you do not, check with your partners, see if you can collaborate together to see what each other is missing, or you can go back in the video to see what you need to fill in. Before you move on to the next must-do activity, you need to come check with me so I can see your notes are completed.